Stop everything you're thinking right now. Because what if I told you that the delay you're crying about is not denial, that the closed doors in your life are not rejection, and that at this very moment God is preparing a breakthrough with your name on it?
Yes, you.
Tomorrow, not next year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world where people are tired, burdened, and waiting for change, waiting for relief, waiting for a sign. But today, I didn't come here to tell you to wait. I came to declare something into your life. Opens your breakthrough now. Not when you're perfect, not when everything makes sense, but right in the middle of your struggle, your confusion, your pain. God is already moving. The question is, are you ready to receive it? What you call delay, God calls preparation. Think about that for a moment, because every single one of us at some point in life has stood in a place where nothing seems to move. You pray, you try, you push, you work, and still things feel stuck. Doors don't open. Opportunities don't come. People move ahead, and you feel like you're standing still. And in that moment, human mind whispers something dangerous. Maybe it's not meant for me. But what if that moment is not your rejection? What if that moment is your construction? Look at everyday life. A farmer does not plant a seed today and expect a harvest tomorrow. Imagine if he stood in the field the next day looking at the soil and said, nothing has happened. This is useless. No, he understands something deeper. Beneath the ground, where no eye can see, roots are forming. Strength is building, life is developing in silence. Your life works the same way. Just because you don't see progress does not mean progress is not happening. Think about a student preparing for exams. While others are enjoying, relaxing, moving freely, that student is studying late at night, sacrificing comfort. From the outside, it may look like nothing exciting is happening. But in reality, season of delay, of restriction is building knowledge, discipline, and confidence. And when the results come, people will only see the success, not the silent preparation behind it. The same is happening in your life right now. You're being prepared. Prepared for responsibilities you cannot yet handle, for opportunities you cannot yet see. Prepared for a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and ready. Because let's be honest, everything you prayed for came to you immediately. Would you truly be ready to sustain it? Sometimes we ask for big things, but we're still thinking small. We ask for elevation, but we're not yet stable. And God, in His wisdom, does not just give, He prepares. That delay you feel is not empty time. It is training time. Think about a person who wants to build a strong body. They go to the gym, lift weights, and push through pain. Now imagine if after one day they looked in the mirror and said, nothing has changed. They would quit. But those who understand growth, they stay consistent. They trust the process. Over time, the results become undeniable. Your situation is no different. Every challenge you face is building endurance. Every moment of waiting is building patience. Every disappointment is building resilience. You are becoming someone who can carry the weight of the blessing that is coming. Because a breakthrough is not just about receiving something new. It's about becoming someone new. And that transformation takes time. So instead of asking, why is this taking so long? Ask yourself, what is this season teaching me? Maybe it's teaching you patience in a world that rushes everything. Maybe it's teaching you strength in moments where you felt weak. Maybe it's teaching you to trust, even when you cannot see. And here's the powerful truth. When preparation is complete, breakthrough doesn't come slowly, it comes suddenly. Just like the seed that stays hidden for days, then one morning breaks through the soil. Just like the sun that rises after the darkest night, not gradually, but powerfully. Your moment is coming like that. So don't lose hope in the delay. Don't give up in the waiting. Don't walk away just because you don't see immediate results. Because what feels like a pause is actually progress. What feels like silence is actually construction. What feels like delay is actually God preparing something so strong, so aligned, and so right for your life that when it finally arrives, you will realize it was worth the wait. When people overlook you, when they ignore your effort, when they fail to recognize your value, it can hurt in ways that are hard to explain. It can make you question yourself. It can make you wonder, am I not good enough? Am I not seen? Do I even matter? Here is something powerful you need to understand. Just because people cannot see your worth does not mean it does not exist. And more importantly, people are overlooking you. God is already positioning you. Think about everyday life. There are people who work quietly in offices, giving their best every single day, yet they don't get praised. No one claps for them. No one posts about them. Meanwhile, others seem to get all the attention for doing less. It feels unfair, doesn't it? But what you don't always see is this: recognition by people is temporary, but positioning by God is permanent, because people see what is on the surface. They see what is loud, what is visible, what is trending. But God sees what is hidden. He sees your consistency. He sees your honesty. He sees the effort you put in when no one is watching. He sees the times you chose integrity over shortcuts. And while people are busy overlooking you, God is arranging things behind the scenes. Look at a simple example. Imagine a person who is always kind, always respectful, always hardworking, but they are not part of the popular circle. They don't get invited to important gatherings. They're not in the spotlight. But one day, when a real opportunity comes, some serious, something meaningful, who do people look for? Not the loudest person, not the most visible one. They look for the most reliable one. And suddenly the same person who was ignored becomes essential. That's how positioning works. You may feel invisible right now, but invisibility is not useless. It is often protection and preparation. Because not every stage of your life is meant to be public. Some stages are meant to build you quietly. So when the moment comes, you don't just appear, you stand strong. Think about a builder constructing a house. Before anything beautiful appears on the outside, there is deep work happening in the foundation. That work is not attractive. Nobody gathers around to admire it. It's messy, hidden, and slow. But without it, the building cannot stand. You might be in your foundation season right now. People walk over it. People ignore it. But that doesn't mean it's not important. In fact, it's the most critical part. Because when your time comes, when your moment arrives, you won't just rise, you will last. Another example. Have you ever seen someone suddenly succeed and everyone says, wow, they came out of nowhere? But the truth is, they didn't come out of nowhere. They were working, learning, growing, just not in front of everyone. God was positioning them in silence. And that same process is happening in your life. Every time you were rejected from an opportunity, maybe it wasn't meant to reduce you. It was meant to redirect you. Every time someone ignored your value, maybe it wasn't because you lacked worth. It was because your worth didn't belong in that place. Because not every environment is meant to recognize you. Some places are only meant to reveal that you've outgrown them. So instead of shrinking yourself to be noticed by the wrong people, trust that God is guiding you toward the right place, where your value will not be questioned, but needed. And here's something even deeper. When people overlook you, it teaches you not to depend on human approval. It teaches you to stand firm in your own purpose. It teaches you to keep going even when no one is clapping. Because if you only move when people notice you, you will stop when they don't. But when you understand that God sees you, that changes everything. You begin to work with excellence even in silence. You begin to stay consistent even without recognition. You begin to believe in your journey, even when others don't understand it. That kind of mindset, that kind of strength is what prepares you for real elevation. Because when the moment finally comes, when the door opens, opportunity appears, when your name is called, you won't be desperate for validation. You'll be ready. Ready because you were built in the shadows. Ready because you were strengthened in silence. Ready because you didn't quit when nobody was watching. So if you feel overlooked today, don't let it break you. Let it build you, because while people may not see you right now, God never loses sight of you. And at the right time, in the right place, with the right opportunity, you will realize something powerful. You were never forgotten. You were just being positioned. If you don't believe it's possible, you will never recognize it when it arrives. That's not just a sentence. It's a reality that quietly controls how most people live their lives. Because the mind is powerful. It doesn't just think. It filters. It decides. It accepts or rejects what is in front of you. And if your mind is filled with doubt, limitation, and fear, even the greatest opportunity can walk right past you, and you won't even notice it. Think about it in simple, everyday life. Imagine someone who has always told themselves, I'm not smart enough. Now put that person in a room full of opportunities, learning, growth, chances to improve. What will they do? Most likely, they will hesitate. They will hold back. They might not even try. Not because the opportunity isn't real, but because their belief isn't. The opportunity was there. The door was open, but their mindset kept them standing outside. This is how powerful your thinking is. Your life does not only move based on what is available to you, it moves based on what you believe is available to you. Think about a small business owner. Two people start with the same amount of money, the same resources, the same environment. One says, this is difficult, but I will grow. The other says, this will probably fail. Months later, you see a difference. One has expanded, improved, adapted. The other has given up or stayed stuck. What changed? Not the resources, not the environment, the mindset. Because when you believe something is possible, your mind starts searching for ways to make it happen. You become alert. You notice ideas. You take action. You push through obstacles. But when you believe something is impossible, your mind shuts down. It stops looking. It stops trying. So when the moment comes, you don't recognize it. Let's take a real life situation. Have you ever seen someone miss a great opportunity simply because they doubted themselves? Maybe they were offered a job, but they thought, I'm not ready. Maybe they had a chance to speak, to lead, to step forward, but fear told them to stay back. Later, someone else took that same opportunity and succeeded. Was the opportunity different? No. The difference was belief. This is why breakthrough does not begin outside, it begins inside. Before anything changes around you, something must change within you. Because if your mind is trained to see limits, you will find limits everywhere. If your mind is trained to see possibilities, you will find paths where others see walls. Look at something as simple as learning a new skill. Some people say, I can't do this. It's too hard. And they stop before they even begin. Others say it's hard, but I'll learn step by step, and slowly they improve. Same skill, same difficulty, different results. Why? Because one person allowed doubt to define their reality while the other allowed belief to expand it. And here's something deeper. Your mind doesn't just affect what you do, it affects what you see. If you walk into a room believing nobody respects you, you will interpret every action negatively. A small delay feels like rejection. A simple mistake feels like failure. If you walk into the same room believing you have value, you carry yourself differently. You respond differently. You notice opportunities instead of obstacles. The environment didn't change. Your perception did. And perception shapes reality more than we realize. That's why some people remain stuck, even when everything they need is already around them. Not because they lack opportunity, because they lack the belief to recognize it. So if you want your breakthrough to begin, you must first train your mind. Start by challenging the thoughts that limit you. When your mind says, I can't, ask yourself, why not? When your mind says, this is too big, remind yourself, growth always feels big in the beginning. When your mind says, I'm not ready, tell yourself, I will become ready by taking the first step. Because readiness doesn't come before action, it comes through action. And belief doesn't mean everything will be easy. It means you trust that something is possible, even if you don't yet see how. Think about a person learning to drive. In the beginning, everything feels confusing, steering, speed, control, but they don't say, I'll only drive when I'm perfect. They practice, they make mistakes, they improve. Imagine if they believe, I'll never learn this. They would never even sit in the driver's seat. Your life works the same way. You don't wait to believe after success comes. You believe first, and then success begins to take shape. So open your mind to possibility. Because your breakthrough may not come in the way you expect. It may come as a small chance, a simple idea, a quiet opportunity. But if your mind is closed, you will overlook it. If your mind is open, you will recognize it. Once you recognize it, you can act on it. So don't let doubt blind you. Don't let fear shrink your vision. Train your mind to see beyond limitations. Because the moment you truly believe that something greater is possible for you, you begin to notice what was always there. Door you thought was closed was never locked. Fear whispers, what if you fail? Faith declares, what if something greater happens through you? Every single day, you stand at a crossroads between these two voices. One voice is quiet but heavy. It fills your mind with doubt, hesitation, and worst case scenarios. The other voice is calm but powerful. It reminds you of possibility, strength, and trust. The direction of your life depends on which voice you choose to follow. Fear is natural. It's part of being human. It shows up when you're about to do something new, something uncertain, something bigger than your comfort zone. But here's the truth. Fear is not meant to control you. It's meant to test you. Think about a simple situation. Imagine you're about to speak in front of people. Heart starts beating fast. Your hands feel tense. Your mind begins to race. What if I forget my words? What if people judge me? What if I embarrass myself? That's fear, and most people at that moment step back. They avoid the stage. They say, maybe next time. And they walk away feeling safe, but also stuck. Now imagine another person in the same situation. They feel the same fear. Their heart beats just as fast. Their mind raises the same questions. But instead of stepping back, they tell themselves, what if I do well? What if I inspire someone? What if this moment changes something for me? That's faith. The difference is not in the situation. It's not in the ability. It's in the response. Fear focuses on what could go wrong. Faith focuses on what could go right. And here's something powerful. Both fear and faith require you to believe something you cannot yet see. Fear believes in failure before it happens, believes in possibility before it appears. So the real question is not whether you will believe, it's what you will believe. Look at everyday life again. Think about someone starting a small business. Fear says, what if you lose money? What if people don't support you? What if you fail? And because of that fear, many people never even begin. But faith says, what if this grows? What if people value what you offer? What if this becomes something meaningful? And that belief pushes them to take the first step. Now, does faith guarantee that everything will go perfectly? No. There will still be challenges, mistakes, and setbacks. But faith gives you something fear never can. It gives you the strength to keep going. Because fear stops you before you start. Faith strengthens you while you continue. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. The first time you're afraid of falling, your mind tells you, this is risky, you might get hurt. And yes, you might fall. But if you let that fear control you, you will never learn. But if you choose faith, you say, I may fall, but I will try again. And slowly, with each attempt, you gain balance, confidence, and skill. In the end, the person who succeeds is not the one who never felt fear. It's the one who didn't let fear decide their actions. That's the power of faith. Faith doesn't remove fear, it rises above it. And here's something deeper. Fear often grows from focusing too much on yourself. What will people think of me? What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? It turns your attention inward in a negative way. Faith shifts your focus outward and upward. It says, there is something bigger at work. There is a purpose beyond this moment. There is strength available to me. When you operate from faith, you stop being controlled by outcomes. You start being driven by purpose. It changes everything. Because when you are driven by fear, you avoid risk, you stay small, and you settle for less than what you're capable of. But when you are driven by faith, you step forward, you grow, and you discover abilities you didn't even know you had. Have you ever noticed that some of the greatest moments in life come after you push past fear? The job you almost didn't apply for, the conversation you were afraid to have, the opportunity you thought was too big for you. On the other side of fear is growth. The other side of fear is breakthrough. But you can only reach it if you choose faith over fear. And choosing faith is not a one-time decision. It's a daily practice. Every morning when doubt tries to enter your mind, choose faith. Every time you face uncertainty, choose faith. Every time fear whispers, you can't, let faith respond. I will try. Because your life will always move in the direction of your strongest belief. So strengthen your faith, not a blind belief, but a confident trust that no matter what happens, you will learn, you will grow, and you will move forward. When you live like that, something powerful begins to happen. Fear loses its control. It may still speak, but it no longer leads. You begin to take steps you once avoided. You begin to face challenges you once feared. You begin to live a life that is not limited by, what if I fail, but expanded by, what if I succeed? So the next time fear shows up, and it will, don't be surprised. Don't be discouraged. Just remember this. Fear is a voice, faith is a decision. And when you choose faith again and again, you will realize the thing that once scared you is the very thing that was meant to grow you. The darkest moment often comes right before the breakthrough. It's a pattern as old as life itself. Every person who has ever achieved something meaningful has faced a moment when everything seemed to fall apart. When hope felt distant and the weight of the world pressed down so heavily that giving up seemed easier than moving forward. Yet, in that exact moment, unseen by the eye and often unnoticed by the heart, the stage is being set for transformation. This is the moment where the breakthrough is being quietly prepared. Think about the farmer again. There are times when the sky refuses to rain, soil is dry, and every effort seems wasted. The seeds lay buried in the ground, invisible, untouched by sun or rain, and it feels like nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are growing, strengthening, preparing to push through the soil. Farmer cannot see the miracle happening underground. To the eye, it's darkness, stagnation, and despair. But in reality, the breakthrough, green shoots of life, is imminent. Life works in the same way. There are seasons in which nothing seems to move. You wake up every day putting in effort, facing struggle, making sacrifices, and yet progress seems invisible. It feels like you're running in place. In those moments, it's natural to question your path, to wonder why life is so hard, and to doubt whether anything will ever change. But remember this, the breakthrough is coming. The universe, God, the divine rhythm of life doesn't abandon the patient. The storm, the struggle, and the silence are all shaping you for what's ahead. Consider a student preparing for exams. There are nights when exhaustion sets in, when frustration builds, and the thought of quitting enters the mind. It's dark. Motivation is low. Every page studied seems like a repetition, and progress feels invisible. Yet all that effort compounds. Knowledge accumulates quietly in the mind. Confidence grows unnoticed. Discipline is strengthened. And when the exam day arrives, all of that hidden work surfaces. The breakthrough, the moment of triumph, always follows the hardest preparation. Even in relationships, this pattern exists. Sometimes you feel disconnected from people, misunderstood or ignored. You may have given your best only to face rejection or miscommunication. It can feel like darkness, like all the effort was pointless. But relationships, like life, require patience and resilience. Sometimes breakthrough in understanding, connection, or trust comes after the longest period of strain. Both sides have grown silently and are finally ready to align. Think about the athlete who trains relentlessly for a championship. Every day involves pushing through fatigue, injuries, and moments of self-doubt. Some days feel like a dead end. The progress seems invisible. The body refuses to cooperate, and the mind begs for rest. Yet the championship performance, the winning moment, always comes after the period of hardest training. The breakthrough is always built on the foundation of struggle, sweat, and persistence. Principle here is clear. Breakthrough does not appear in comfort. It does not emerge from ease. It does not manifest when everything feels convenient. The breakthrough is always preceded by darkness. It is forged in struggle, refined in challenge, and tempered in moments where giving up feels easiest. Those who recognize this truth are the ones who persist, who endure, and who ultimately rise. Even in business and career, the darkest moments often precede the leap forward. The entrepreneur might face rejection after rejection, financial struggle, fear that their vision will never materialize. It can feel like everything is falling apart. But when they persevere, that moment of greatest uncertainty is often the final step before a breakthrough, the investment that finally pays off, the idea that finally clicks, the connection that finally opens the door. Here's another everyday truth sometimes. We measure our progress only by what we can see. We judge our lives by what is visible, and when nothing appears, we assume failure. But progress is not always visible. Growth often happens under the surface. Attitudes, in skills, in resilience, in understanding, in wisdom. Just because you cannot see change does not mean change is not happening. The breakthrough, when it comes, will be the visible reflection of all that invisible work. The key is persistence. The key is trust. The key is refusing to give up when everything feels hopeless. Darkness is not the enemy, it is the preparation ground. It is the place where your mind, body, and spirit are being strengthened for what's next. If you quit in the darkness, you will never witness the breakthrough. But if you endure, if you keep taking steps, even small ones, despite uncertainty, you position yourself to experience transformation beyond what you imagined. So when life feels darkest, remember this is the moment before dawn. The weight you feel today is the weight that will propel you into your next chapter. The silence you endure is the silence in which greatness is being quietly crafted. The struggle you face is the struggle that will shape you into someone capable of carrying the blessing waiting on the other side. Breakthroughs are rarely accidental. They are intentional. They are preceded by struggle. They are hidden in the moments when giving up feels easiest. The darkness you face is not a punishment, it is a prelude. And if you keep moving, keep believing, and keep preparing yourself, the breakthrough will arrive. It will arrive with power, purpose, and undeniable impact. Your darkest moment is not the end. It is the threshold. Step through it. Breakthrough awaits. What seems impossible to you is effortless for God. Stop for a moment and really let that sink in. The things you think are too hard, too complicated, too overwhelming, God sees them differently. What you call impossible is just a minor step in a much bigger plan that you cannot yet comprehend. Your mind is limited by experience, by fear, by what you've seen before. God, or the force that governs creation and life, is unlimited, and that difference is where miracles are born. Think about everyday life. Imagine someone who wants to start a business but feels they don't have the capital, connections, or knowledge. To them, it seems impossible. They weigh the risks, calculate the chances, and conclude that failure is inevitable. Yet, countless times, people have started with nothing and achieved more than they ever imagined. How? Because what seemed impossible in human eyes was already possible in God's hands. Resources appear at the right moment, guidance shows up just when it's needed, and opportunities come in ways that defy logic. Consider the artist who dreams of creating a masterpiece. They stare at a blank canvas, convinced they cannot bring their vision to life. Hours pass, frustration grows, and they feel defeated. But with patience, faith, and persistence, the painting emerges effortlessly beautiful, though the creator had once believed it impossible. The difference is not talent alone. It is alignment with something greater than themselves, a force that turns effort into manifestation, struggle into artistry. Even in science and innovation, seemed impossible was achieved by people who refused to limit themselves to human boundaries. Think of inventors and pioneers throughout history, people who dared to believe that flight was possible, that communication could cross oceans instantly, that diseases could be cured. For those inventors, the rest of the world said impossible. And yet, when they aligned vision, effort, and faith in a higher possibility, the impossible became reality. Your own life is full of examples too. Perhaps you have faced challenges that felt insurmountable, financial struggles, health issues, broken relationships, personal goals that seemed out of reach, and yet often you survived. You adapted. You found solutions. You discovered strength you didn't know you had. That is proof that what seems impossible on the surface is not truly impossible. It's just waiting for the right timing, the right insight, the right guidance. Think about someone trying to run a marathon for the first time. At the beginning, the finish line seems impossibly far. Their body aches, their lungs burn, and their mind tells them to quit. Yet, step by step, breath by breath, they keep moving. And when they cross that finish line, they look back and realize it was never impossible. They simply hadn't experienced the power of endurance, preparation, and inner strength. Felt impossible was only a challenge they were ready to overcome all along. What seems impossible is also a test of vision. Humans often limit themselves because we judge possibilities by what we have already seen. We assume reality is only what has occurred before. The divine or universal power does not operate by past limitations. It operates by potential. Just because it has never been done before does not mean it cannot be done. Just because your circumstances seem impossible does not mean a solution does not exist. God sees beyond your limitations, your doubts, and your fears. God sees the path, even when you care not. And here's the truth. If you wait until something feels possible to try, you will never step into breakthrough. Often, you must act in faith before the signs appear. You must take steps before the conditions are perfect. You must move forward, even when your mind screams, I can't, because that is exactly how the impossible becomes possible. Consider the student who dreams of studying abroad but has no resources, no connections, no support. The situation seems impossible. And yet, through scholarships, mentorships, unexpected help, or sheer determination, many students make it happen. The key is not that the challenge was easy. It wasn't. Key is that someone aligned their effort with opportunity and faith in a higher possibility. What seemed impossible for the human mind became effortless for the divine alignment of purpose. Even in daily life, miracles happen constantly when we stop defining limits for ourselves. The person who learns a new language, the individual who rebuilds after a financial loss, the parent who overcomes every obstacle to provide a better life for their children, they are all living proof that the impossible can be conquered. What feels beyond reach today can become ordinary tomorrow once you align effort with trust in what is greater than your limitations. So, whenever you are faced with something that feels impossible, remember this: it is only impossible from where you are standing. It is only impossible from the perspective of what you can see, measure, or control. But with faith, persistence, and openness to guidance, the impossible can be effortless. What seems like an insurmountable obstacle may actually be the very moment where divine timing, preparation, alignment are about to work in your favor. The key is not to be discouraged by what you cannot do alone. Key is not to quit when the path looks impossible. The key is to act, to trust, to believe that what seems impossible to you is already effortless in the hands of God. Step forward, and you will see that the mountains you feared were never meant to stop you. They were meant to elevate you. Because what seems impossible to you is already possible, waiting to unfold effortlessly when you align with the power that created everything. Every hardship is shaping you into someone ready to handle the blessing. It's easy to look at life and feel frustrated by the challenges, the obstacles, the moments that seem unfair or overwhelming. We often ask ourselves, why me? Why now? And feel like the struggles are just random, meaningless burdens. Here's the truth: every hardship has a purpose. Every difficulty is molding you, refining you, and preparing you for the next level of your life. Think about it in everyday life. Imagine a student struggling with a difficult subject. They stay up late, pore over books, and try again and again, only to fail a test. On the surface, it feels like defeat. It feels like the universe is against them. But that struggle is not wasted. That hardship is building persistence, critical thinking, and discipline. When they finally pass not just the test, but when they apply those skills in life, they are ready for challenges they never could have faced before. The struggle was the preparation. Look at athletes as another example. Runner doesn't train for a marathon by only running easy miles. They run through pain, fatigue, early mornings, and harsh weather. There are days when the body screams to stop, when the mind whispers, "Why am I doing this?" Yet each difficult mile strengthens the muscles, the endurance, and the mental toughness needed to cross the finish line. Without that hardship, the athlete could never handle the challenge ahead. Without struggle, the victory wouldn't feel as profound, and the success wouldn't last. The same applies in careers. Think about a person working tirelessly for years in a job that seems thankless. Maybe they're overlooked for promotions, criticized unfairly, or weighed down by responsibilities that feel too heavy. It's easy to feel discouraged, to wonder if the struggle is worth it. But those experiences are shaping them into a leader, teaching patience, resilience, and strategic thinking. When the right opportunity arises, they are ready not just to take it, but to excel in it. The hardships gave them skills that comfort could never teach. Even in relationships, Hardship prepare us for deeper, more meaningful connections. When we experience conflict, heartbreak, or misunderstanding, we learn empathy, communication, and emotional strength. The pain of difficult relationship trains us to appreciate healthy ones, to recognize genuine love, and to handle challenges with grace. It's often through the struggle that we learn what real connection requires, and by enduring hardship, we become someone capable of giving and receiving love in its fullest form. Consider a parent raising children. The sleepless nights, worries about their child's future, the sacrifices that go unnoticed, these hardships are building patience, wisdom, and a kind of inner strength that can never be taught in comfort. When the child faces their own challenges, the parent is equipped to guide, protect, inspire because of the very struggles they endured. Hardship is the invisible curriculum of life, shaping leaders, nurturers, and mentors. Even small, everyday examples teach this truth. Imagine learning a new skill, cooking, coding, public speaking. At first, every step seems difficult. Mistakes are made. Confidence falters. Frustration grows. But if you persist, each misstep becomes a lesson. Each failure builds competence, creativity, and adaptability. Time you master the skill, the hardship you endured is no longer remembered as a burden, but as a critical part of your growth. What's important to understand is that hardship doesn't just prepare you for opportunities, it prepares you for blessings. And the two are connected. It's enough. If you were given a blessing before being ready, it could overwhelm you. You might not know how to manage it, appreciate it, or sustain it. Hardship is the refining fire that tempers your character, sharpens your wisdom, and strengthens your resilience. It ensures that when the blessing arrives, you are ready not only to receive it, but to make the most of it. Think about entrepreneurs who start with nothing. They face rejection, financial strain, and repeated failures. Many give up. But the ones who persist, who endure the hardship, are the ones who can handle success when it finally comes. They understand strategy, patience, and perseverance. They value what they achieve because they earned it step by step, struggle by struggle. Hardships didn't just prepare them, they made the blessing possible. Even in personal growth, hardship teaches self-awareness and inner strength. When you face failure, criticism, or loss, you are forced to look inward. You discover your weaknesses and your strengths. You confront fears you never noticed. You develop resilience, patience, and humility. By the time you reach the breakthrough, you are not the same person who started the journey. You are stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling the responsibility that comes with success. So when life feels heavy, when struggles feel endless, remember this: nothing is wasted. Every challenge is shaping you. Every difficulty is teaching you. Every hardship is preparing you. The blessings you desire, breakthroughs you seek are waiting, but you must be ready to carry them, to sustain them, and to use them wisely. Trials you face today are not your punishment, they're your preparation. And when you finally step into the blessing, you will look back and realize it was the hardship that made the victory possible. It was the struggle that made the success sustainable. Every hardship is crafting a version of you that can handle what is coming, and the moment your breakthrough arrives, you will be ready to receive it fully, with strength, wisdom, and gratitude. Hardship is not the enemy, it is the mentor, it is the teacher, the sculptor, and the silent force shaping your life. Embrace it, endure it, and learn from it. Because every hardship is preparing you for the blessing that is right around the corner, and the best is yet to come. Stop waiting for the right time. The right time is when you decide to trust God completely. How often do we sit on the sidelines of our own lives, waiting for a perfect moment to act, waiting for the stars to align, waiting for circumstances to be ideal, waiting for everyone else to say yes? We tell ourselves, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll wait until I'm ready, as if readiness and perfection are prerequisites for success. But here's the truth: there is no perfect time. There is only the moment you choose to act with faith, courage, and trust. That moment is your breakthrough. Think about it in everyday life. Consider someone who wants to start a business. They wait until they have every resource, every connection, every skill perfected. Weeks turn into months, months into years. Meanwhile, the opportunity they've been waiting for moves forward without them. Those who choose to start with faith, to take the first step, even when conditions aren't perfect, often discover doors opening in ways they never anticipated. Momentum begins the moment you act, not when the timing feels perfect. Even in personal growth, waiting for the right time is an illusion. Think about learning a new skill, public speaking, coding, art, or fitness. Some people wait until they feel confident, until they feel fully prepared. They wait and never start. Others take the first step, imperfect and uncertain, and learn through action. Confidence grows, skill develops, and progress is made. The right time is never given. It's created when you decide to move forward despite uncertainty. Consider a student who dreams of studying abroad. They might wait for the perfect grades, the perfect scholarship, the perfect guidance. If they never take the initial step, researching programs, applying, reaching out, they will remain stuck in waiting. Action, faith, and trust transform waiting into opportunity. The moment they commit to the process is the moment the right time begins. Even in relationships, waiting for the perfect moment can cause missed opportunities. Sometimes expressing gratitude, forgiveness, love is delayed because we are waiting for the right mood, the right setting, or the right signal from the other person. Life is unpredictable. People don't wait. Opportunities to connect, to heal, or to grow don't wait. Choosing to act with intention and faith, despite imperfection, often leads to moments of profound connection that would never have existed if we had waited. Think about famous inventors and entrepreneurs. Many of them began projects with limited resources, imperfect knowledge, and minimal support. They didn't wait for every detail to align. They acted with the tools they had, learning and adjusting along the way. If they had waited for the right time, many of the innovations we take for granted today would never exist. Progress comes from action, not from perfect timing. In career advancement, the lesson is the same. Waiting for the perfect moment to ask for a promotion, launch a project, propose an idea often results in stagnation. Those who succeed are often the ones who step forward with courage, even when they feel unprepared. They create their own momentum, and in doing so, they inspire trust, demonstrate initiative, open doors that would have remained closed if they had waited for perfect conditions. Even on a personal level, life rarely waits for us to feel ready. Opportunities to speak, to teach, to help, to lead, to inspire, they appear in imperfect moments. The person who acts decisively, trusting in God's guidance, often achieves far more than someone who waits endlessly for readiness or perfection. Waiting can feel safe, but action, rooted in faith, is transformative. The key is trust. Trust that you are equipped, not necessarily in every detail, but in spirit, purpose, and heart. Trust that the journey itself will provide guidance and solutions along the way. Trust that stepping forward in faith is more powerful than waiting in doubt. The moment you trust completely, the right time arrives, not in calendars, not in circumstances, not in permission, but in the decision to act with conviction. Look at a parent teaching a child a life lesson. They don't wait until the child is perfectly ready to understand responsibility or resilience. They act, guiding, teaching, and support in real time. The right time to influence, to lead, to nurture is not some future date. It is the present. They choose to act with purpose. Life works the same way for you. Waiting often creates fear, doubt, and hesitation. Action rooted in trust creates confidence, clarity, and momentum. You may not know how everything will work out. Stepping forward opens possibilities you could never anticipate. Faith does not guarantee immediate results. It guarantees that your actions align with purpose, preparing you for the breakthrough you seek. So, stop waiting. Stop postponing your dreams, your actions, your growth. Stop waiting for circumstances to be perfect or for everyone else to approve. The right time is not in some future illusion. It is now. The moment you choose to trust completely, to act boldly, and to move forward with faith. When you make that decision, life begins to respond. Doors you didn't see begin to open. Guidance comes in ways you could never plan. Opportunities appear where none existed. And suddenly, the breakthrough you've been waiting for is no longer in the distance. It is happening because you chose to trust and act. Right time is not a date on a calendar. It is a choice in your heart. It is the moment you decide that faith, courage, and trust will guide your actions. You stop waiting, your breakthrough begins. Your moment is now. Step forward, trust completely, and watch what happens. Your breakthrough is bigger than your past. So often, people look back at their lives and feel trapped by their history. They remember failures, mistakes, missed opportunities, and disappointments. They allow the weight of the past to define what they believe is possible in the future. I've tried and failed before, they say. I don't have what it takes. I'll never get there. But here's the truth: your past is not your limit. It's your launch pad. Every experience, every failure, every heartbreak, every setback has been preparing you for what's ahead. Your breakthrough is bigger than everything you've been through. Think about everyday life. Imagine a young entrepreneur who has tried starting a business multiple times only to face rejection, financial loss, or ridicule. They might feel defeated, convinced that failure is part of who they are. But the lessons from those failures, resilience, creativity, problem solving, become the very foundation for the business that finally succeeds. The breakthrough does not ignore the past, it uses it. What once felt like an ending becomes a stepping stone to something greater. Even in personal relationships, your past does not have to dictate your future. Perhaps you have experienced broken friendships or lost love. Maybe you have been hurt by people you trusted. That pain can either make you bitter or make you wiser. Those experiences teach empathy, patience, and discernment. They prepare you to recognize the relationships that will uplift you, the people who will honor your value, and the bonds that are meant to last. Your breakthrough in love, connection, or friendship is bigger than the mistakes or heartache of yesterday. Consider a student who struggled in school, perhaps even failed classes or doubted their own intelligence. On the surface, their academic record may seem like a limitation. But when they refuse to let the past define them, when they dedicate themselves to learning and growth, they often achieve far beyond what they imagined. The breakthrough, the opportunity to excel, to create, to shine, is always larger than the setbacks they once experienced. Even in careers, people often let their past hold them back. They may have been overlooked for promotions, criticized unfairly, or passed over for opportunities. They may carry the thought, "I'm not good enough," based on past experiences. But breakthroughs in career rarely have anything to do with what happened before. They are about what you do next, about the persistence, skill building, and preparation you put in now. Your future success is bigger than past rejection. Your breakthrough is bigger than self-doubt too. Many of us carry internal stories of limitation. I can't do it. I'm not ready. I've already failed too many times. But these are only mental chains. The universe does not measure you by your fears, measures you by your courage to move forward. What seems impossible or too late now can become your greatest achievement when you refuse to let yesterday define tomorrow. Think about a musician who has faced rejection after rejection, auditions lost, recordings ignored, performances unnoticed. It would be easy to stop, to let the past define their potential. But every rejection teaches technique, resilience, patience, and creativity. And then one day, they step into the spotlight and achieve a success far beyond what their past failures predicted. The breakthrough is bigger than what came before because it has been built on the lessons of every setback. Even in daily life, the principle applies. Perhaps you've made financial mistakes in the past, struggled with health, or failed to reach personal goals. Each of those experiences may feel like a burden when you look back, but they have taught you valuable lessons: discipline, awareness, problem solving, and perspective. The breakthrough comes when you take those lessons and apply them today. What you've experienced does not define your limit. It defines your preparation. Your past might include criticism from others. Maybe people doubted you, laughed at your ideas, told you that your dreams were unrealistic. Those voices may have lingered in your mind, tempting you to give up. But breakthroughs never rely on others' approval. They rely on your determination, your belief, and your courage to move forward despite what's already happened. Your breakthrough is bigger than what anyone has ever said about you. Even spiritually, your breakthrough is bigger than guilt or regret. Maybe there are moments in your past you wish you could erase, decisions you regret, words you wish you hadn't said, paths you wish you hadn't taken. Yet, those moments are part of your story, and your story is not over. Every step you take forward adds meaning. growth, and wisdom. Your breakthrough doesn't ignore your past. It transcends it. It transforms the lessons, the mistakes, and the experiences into fuel for something greater. So, if you are standing here today feeling weighed down by what has already happened, take a deep breath and release it. Your past does not define your worth, does not limit your potential. It does not control your future. The breakthrough you have been waiting for is far larger than your history, far stronger than your mistakes, and far brighter than your setbacks. Every failure, every disappointment, every challenge you have faced has been preparing you for what is coming. The breakthrough is not just possible, it is inevitable when you step forward with faith, courage, and persistence. What seems impossible today will one day be your testimony. A story of triumph far greater than anything your past could predict. Your past is behind you. Your breakthrough is ahead. It is bigger than anything you have ever imagined. Your breakthrough requires action, not just hope. Hope is powerful. It gives us vision, fuels our dreams, and allows us to imagine a better future. But hope alone does not move mountains. Hope alone does not open doors. Hope alone does not bring the breakthrough you are seeking. Breakthrough happens when hope is combined with action. When your dreams meet your effort. When your faith drives your steps. When your vision pushes you to do what is uncomfortable. That is when life begins to change.